What's the wildest dream you ever had? I was putting on deodorant and the deodorant turned me into a horse. I once dreamed I had to kill a dinosaur by cutting off the top of its skull and pour boiling gasoline onto its brain. Also, it was a cartoon dinosaur that looked like a giraffe. I remember that if I failed in killing this dinosaur, something really bad was going to happen, so it was super important. I had a dream last night that I was at a Red Hot Chili Peppers concert and Anthony Kiedis went into the crowd and just started humping people while singing. He humped these two guys from behind and they just decked him. He got KO'd and they had to cancel the rest of the show. My grandma got a new house. I went down to the basement and found a dead body in the freezer, children chained up, and a bunch of hot chicks. My house was suddenly full of water, and all the town folk decided to stand on our roof and defecate onto what was essentially a giant toilet. I was swimming toward the surface in a panic, dodging turds that were sinking all around me. Between depleting oxygen and poop all around, I don't think I made it. I was hanging out with a friend who had died a few years prior at my place. When he went to leave, I followed him out for a moment and my mom was there outside. I asked her, "Do you see that boy there walking away in the white shirt?" And she said no, flying nude while eating an ice cream. Somehow I ended up dreaming about being chased by Mr. Bean and just as I was about to escape, he runs me over with his green Mini Cooper at the end of the dream before waking up. Recently I had a dream about a game of dodgeball. I dreamt leaping after the ball to catch it, woke up midair, falling over the side of my bed, arms stretched out. I fell flat on my face. I once had a dream I got knocked out. In the dream I went black and came to somewhere else with the same symptoms of being actually knocked out. Dreamt around 9 to 10 years old. Was on a family trip in a station wagon and we all died driving off the end of a dock. Looked out over the water and there were suddenly concrete lily pads and somehow I knew that's where we had to stand when we were with the devil. I know this because God and the devil negotiated that we'd spend half our time with each of them. Having a dream that my sister was pregnant to then find out that she was pregnant a week later. I found myself standing on a beach, staring out at the vast expanse of the ocean in front of me. Suddenly, a massive wave began to form, rising up higher and higher until it was towering above me like a skyscraper. Instead of crashing down on top of me, however, the wave seemed to freeze in midair, hovering over my head like a giant water droplet. I had a dream where everyone around me was excited to see an astronomical event. I waited to see what everyone was excited about. And as the night fell, I could see hundreds of galaxies, with apparent size bigger than the moon. It was a terrifying experience. I'm on an SNRI and pregnant, so wild dreams are a common occurrence. A recent one I was jumping across parallel universes and got to experience a couple of my lives on timelines far skewed from the one I live now. I had one dream where I just decided to walk off a building. I landed on the ground and didn't feel a thing. I walked away like nothing happened. The dream ended there because mom told me it's time to get up for school. I had a dream where I met someone, fell in love, had kids, raised those kids, and saw them go off to college. It really did feel like years and it felt so real. When I woke up I had this intense sadness over the loss of a family that wasn't real. Giant orgy at my high school. My own little house with a garden, my own little business and a loving partner living in a small happy town. I so seldom remember my dreams. The last one is a few years ago. All I remember is I had to carry a peephole like from a door to be able to see people. I had a dream my husband had cheated on me, we split and co-parented. Years went by the dream and when I woke up I was absolutely exhausted and mentally shaken as none of it was real. For a couple of weeks I was really disconnected from this reality trying to recover. Experiencing a life you never actually lived is wild. I woke up in a dream with our then queen lying next to me smoking an after-sex cigarette. That dream I never forget. Once I apparently had to shit real bad when I was sleeping. In my dream I did indeed shit. It piled underneath me like a growing mountain, and I got pushed to the sky like a mile up by my endless frosty swirled shit pile. I did not shit myself IRL, but I was probably pretty close, lol. I went to China with Stevie Nicks and then the end of the world was happening. We had a plane to get us to a bunker but she didn't want to come because she hadn't had her McDonald's yet. Probably the tsunami dream that repeated itself till the 15 times in one night and didn't stop repeating until, instead of running away from the wave, I stood and faced it. Dreamt a whole flocking homoerotic vampire novel in English, which is not my native language. It was kinda weird. Captain Jack Sparrow was there for some reason, doling out poor advice. My favorite dream was leading an old-timey army. We made rafts to cross a body of water but instead of fighting an enemy kingdom we fought the plesiosaurs that intercepted us. My most recent wild dream was a couple nights ago. A medical student used a cordless drill on my skull and brain against my will. It felt like being electrocuted. I dreamed kittens were slowly falling from the sky. Their tails were like helicopter rotors, wings. It was a slow fall, so it didn't seem scary or dangerous but cute. I caught the kitties as they landed in my backyard. Later on, it turned out they were a present from Bob Dylan who tipped his cowboy hat and nodded. End of dream. Hunting vampires with super soakers filled with holy water. Weirdest one had to be when I was on Ambien. Something about fighting crime with a rock band of trans people in those rubber horse masks. Wildest in a lewd way or a weird way. When I was a teen I had a sexual dream about a woman who grabbed my junk and spun me around several times. Until I was airborne. When I hit the ground the woman and few other women started to jump. Oh, and my junk was stretched out too. I have the occasional dream with my sister who died in 2014. Never does it occur to me in the dream that she died. I'm always pleasantly surprised to see her in dreamland, and always a bit weirded out waking up. On one level, I got to spend time with my cool sis. On another, she's gone. But I'll take it. It's always nice touching base in dream world at the least. I had dreams of one of my younger siblings being fake, planted. Like a boss baby situation long before that ever came out, but he wanted to destroy the world or something similar. So I'd always end up fighting him, but we couldn't fight in front of my parents. I don't think I resented him, but I am a middle child, so. I don't remember details of the dreams themselves, but a few years ago I went through a stage where I would have bona fide dreams within dreams, just like Inception. Never got past 2 levels, but it was super strange actually waking up and trying to work out if I was truly awake. And no, this is not an April Fool's bit. I had a dream that Hitler was my roommate and I kept getting mad at him for eating spaghetti at the grand piano in the living room and getting sauce all over the keys. It's a bunch of lines. They are constantly moving towards and away from me as I float about the area. It's all white and the lines are black. It provides a very anxious feeling as it goes on. That's all it does. No one is in it. I haven't had that dream in a real long time, but I used to have it as a kid a lot. You know how you're not meant to be able to read while in a dream? Yeah. Well, one time I dreamed I was reading a book and the story was really good. And then I woke up and now I'll never finish reading that book. So yeah, it's possible to read while dreaming, but only one word at a time. Each word comes into focus and then goes away when you read the next word. I had this dream a while ago. My body started to decompose slowly and it hurt and my limbs were rotten and falling off. Terrifying as hell, I woke up sweaty and couldn't sleep anymore after that. Married a vampire. When I came down from alcohol, I was on a multifold number of drips. I'm not certain if it was the drugs or the booze, but I had a crazy run for about 12 hours where my brain just went from random event to something entirely made up to a random scene from a movie. In some ways it was kind of fun, but it was intense. There's a few really wild ones because I have a proclivity for fungi of the hocus pocus variety. They're just loopy weird dreams that involve everything from ice cream rivers to motorcycles made out of dragons. I've dreamt I was a petrol pump, a jello shot, and several times I was Jesus as an actual carpenter. Had a goofy odd dream. Okay, so I don't dream often, but I actually remember this one pretty well. Basically in the dream the Iran government were going to detonate a Tsar bomb above some valley for shits and giggles and everyone came to watch it like some sort of show. I didn't and watched a live broadcast as it blew up and killed everyone. I once dreamed that I was standing at a rail city train at sunrise. Suddenly, I fell backwards through a square hole in the floor that wasn't there before, only to land in the exact same damn spot I was before. I still don't understand it to this day. Watched Die Hard before I went to sleep. Bad things happened to close family members. It was bad. Slow deaths. Missing child. Damn you, Bruce Willis. I think everyone gets the same stress dream from time to time. And, it seems, it matters not how long you've been out of school, it still recurs occasionally. Mine has a curious twist. The class one signed up for and forgot to attend is, invariably, a psychology class. Go figure. Not crazy at the time, but I had a dream the Queen died and I messaged my boss about it. A year later, my boss gives his notice. A few days later I remembered that dream and thought, it's not coming true now. The Queen died on his last day of work. I had a dream years ago that I met the woman of my dreams. We traveled, got careers, had kids, etc. Basically an entire lifetime of living. Then I woke up and felt this incredible pain of longing. I have the writings of this dream somewhere on a hard drive, haha.